Hello, this is episode 10 from the Garden to the Track podcast.
Mm.
I'm Dylan,
Sam.
and we've got a very special guest tonight for episode 10 is Mr. Dan Rood. Hi, Dan.
How we doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Staying warm.
What you up to tonight?
I got home from spending a day at the office and come out and started the fireplace up in the shop here, so I'd have a nice, quiet place to sit in front of the fire, stay warm, and chat.
Wonderful.
I guess that's what we're going to do, right?
Oh yeah. We've got some questions for you, and we've actually had some help with some questions on this one, so it should be interesting.
Okay.
Well, first of all, tell us about yourself, Dan. How old are you? Where are you from? That kind of stuff.
Grew up in kind of mid-Michigan, up between Lansing and Grand Rapids. Graduated out of high school there, and I keep moving south. I'm about 35 miles north of the border now, so I hit about 130. I might make her to Kentucky. When I get old, I'll get to Florida.
There you go. We like Florida.
Yep. I'll be 67 in January the 27th. So.
Okay. And what do you do for a living?
Well, a lot of people tell me I don't do a lot. I work at an ag implement dealer or ag dealer.
Oh, okay.
And I sell lawn and garden, zero turns.
Oh, so, cool. How long have you been doing that?
Be 7 years in April, I think it is.
And so what did you do before that?
Well, I spent 15 years over the road.
Trucking?
Yep. Kind of all over the country and home, maybe on a Saturday and leave out on a Sunday. So you spend about a day and a half at home every week, or sometimes I get stuck out for a couple weeks, but yep.
Yeah, that is something I don't think I could or would ever do. There's just too many idiots on the road, and I just don't have much interest in something like that. But
it's nice that you and your son can hang out and travel so much together now, though.
Oh, definitely.
Right. Well, we always, we were in it long enough that it was always planned that if I had to take off, and back then we used to just roll on Thursday night whenever we could to get there for Friday, or back when we only pulled one day on the national circuit, we'd leave on Friday night. And being over the road like that, you just had to plan for it. You might not get paid all week because they couldn't send you out. And we just saved for it, because if the wheels ain't turning, you're not making any money. So
that's right.
We made it happen, and now it's a little easier. And I just kind of go when I need to go. The boss has a super stock diesel, so they know the pulling gig. And
oh, really?
They knew up front that when pulling time came, I was gone, and kind of evolved a little bit more than that with doing the pulls now. But yep.
Was your bosses any big name of any sort, or just kind of do locally, or?
Big name, the tractor, Pumpkin Gone Mad.
Okay.
And that was mainly just ended up being a state one. They'd go down to Bowling Green, but they had some issues with it, and then his girls got older, and so it's kind of just been setting and trying to figure out what they're really going to do.
So we try to start off most of our episodes here with some icebreakers, and as you know, some of them are kind of silly, and just kind of get everyone loosened up where we can have a conversation, which don't ever have a problem with you, but They're kind of fun.
Oh, I'm pretty quiet. I don't talk much.
I've noticed. What puller would you substitute to pull your tractor if you weren't able to?
Well, actually, Top Gun Hager. And the year Doug got married, he wasn't able to pull, and that when we had the first 30, and we actually took it down to Hager's, delivered it down to him, and oil and everything, and he ran it. Whether he'd run my 30 now, I don't know, but I guess if it wouldn't goof her up too bad, I'd probably put Heidi back on it. It's different style, different things you gotta do. Not that I've got it mastered by any means, but she's doing so good on the super that we don't want to interrupt that.
Yes, she ended up getting third overall on Saturday the other day. That was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, yep. That's the best one she's done out of all of them in her short time. That's pretty amazing.
It really is. I mean, there was a lot of tractors that for her to get past qualifying and down to the, the finals. That was, I'm happy for her. That was awesome.
Yep.
Would you rather go sailing in the Bahamas or on a cross-country road trip?
Cross-country road trip.
Any particular reason? You answered that pretty quick.
I'm not a vacation kind of guy, I guess.
Yeah.
And I used to run down to Pensacola every week and tried to about every other week I'd drop the trailer and run down to the beach and just walk around by myself. But I'd like to get back out west with see some things, see more things back out there again. But yep.
Sam was actually stationed out in California for a little while, so she's seen some neat stuff.
What base?
Camp Pendleton.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I like the West. I like Colorado and all that stuff out there.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you have a nickname?
Depends on who it is and where we're at, but kind of the one that stuck a little bit lately. And that one did come from Nathan, was the Hammer.
Oh yeah, why that nickname?
What you'd have to ask him on that one, but he I guess just the way that I run the polls.
I could see that. Nothing wrong with that, though.
Yeah.
So what is with the Minions? Do you love the movie Despicable Me?
Oh, yeah.
Or you just love the movie?
Well, yeah. For the longest time, I didn't even know it was a movie. I'd just see when they're singing or talking or whatever, and it just made me laugh. And
are you secretly an evil villain?
What's that?
Are you secretly an evil villain?
Oh, no.
I'll tell you what, I think it's pretty cool. You just like them. It makes you, I can tell you're smiling. That's
oh, yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Even in my truck, I had, my sunshades were big Minion eyes. And then I had Kevin Rood on the passenger side and hung on the sun visor, and he was always with me. So the grand boys, they get a kick out of it. So kind of my dad had a doll that just made him laugh and kind of makes me think of him when I'm laughing about him. So
that's pretty cool. Can you guess who asked that question?
Oop, I didn't catch it.
I said, can you guess who might have asked that question?
Well, probably Heidi.
What's something you can't live without in like daily life?
Something I can't live without. I I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I hear you carry around hot sauce in your pocket.
Carry around what?
Hot sauce?
Oh, yeah, just about. Yep. Oh, I do like a little hot sauce.
What kind?
And well, a lot of different ones. I enjoy a variety of different ones, but I guess my go-to that when we're at restaurants and stuff would be Tabasco.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was the other one that Nathan called me Mr. Sauce. So,
well, we've got a little diner here. I'd call it a diner that we like to go eat breakfast, and they got a pretty good like house hot sauce. Maybe we'll get you some, bring to you sometime. Try it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I get every once in a while people that know about it. They show up with a bottle of hot sauce, or Shane brought me some hot honey here.
I love hot honey.
Ooh.
Down to Princeton. Well, this is I've had different stuff from the market, but this was like a family homemade type of thing, and yep, it's pretty toasty.
Do you have a Harley or a motorcycle of any sort?
Nope.
Have you ever?
I had motorcycles up until on and off, and probably the last one is a year or so after I graduated, an enduro bike. But
cool.
And it just, even back then, it was so crazy that people not watching, and it's I've thought about it, but yeah, I'd rather just cruise in the old dually, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So.
How many unbiological kids do you have?
I got 2 extra sons. I've got a daughter, my pulling daughter, and this weekend I inherited a granddaughter.
Aww.
And so I got a picture of my daughter and my granddaughter. My daughter that calls me dad, and my new granddaughter. So.
Who's that?
Grooms, Autumn Grooms.
Autumn?
Yep.
Oh, those are such good people. They're going to be on here soon, I believe. And
okay.
They're some very, very good people.
Yep. So, and the one that calls me dad's Heidi.
Yeah.
So, and then Nathan and Corey.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no Wesley in there, huh?
Well, Wesley's he's special. That one is a love-hate relationship.
I'll tell you what, I've really enjoyed, hanging out with everybody and, getting to be friends with everybody there. It's pretty cool. You guys are all pretty dang welcoming.
Yep.
How many kids do you have besides Doug?
Doug's the youngest, and he's got an older brother, Austin, who's out in Phoenix, Arizona. Been out there a number of years, and he's 4 years older than Doug. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there a secret to having the braided hair? Does it help with aerodynamics? Do you hook better with it? Is there any? Does it help you get a little extra weight back there?
You know, when you've got a daughter and she asks if she can braid your hair, you do it. And
that was my next question: is if you did it yourself or somebody did it?
I have a hard enough time getting a ponytail where it's halfway all in there. And, yeah, she always sits and does it, and it's just amazing how quick. And she does a good job.
So I'm assuming that's Heidi you're referring to.
Yep.
So whenever they're not around, do you just let your hair down and be a wild man, or?
Mainly always just pulled back in a ponytail type deal. At night it might be loose. So.
What got you into pulling?
Doug, you know, and I had to chuckle because when he was telling the story on the podcast, yeah, I was on the road and I come home and, hey, look what we got, Dad.
That's exactly how it went.
Yep. He was working for my buddy, you know, just around the corner here, a farmer, and I think it was his nephew had that tractor, and Marvin, you know, hey Doug, you need this, and they him working, I don't know who bought what or whatever, and we got it, and we worked it out a little bit, and even there were times that I could not go, and Marvin would come pick him up and take him, and they had a blast, and I think there was two clubs we were pulling with, and we weren't invited back to either one of them. They didn't like us. So.
Were you whooping butt too much, or what?
Well, yeah. And at that time we knew really absolutely nothing about what we were doing. So, and later on we found, you know, people laughed because we didn't know what we were doing, and there was things that could have been easily, you know, fixed, and we knew then that was not going to be the way we were, and we will help anybody with anything, and you know, if they're wanting help, and or you know, some people you can go up and talk to them, and it doesn't take long to figure out either they are not opposed to getting some help, but we've spent a lot of good money after bad money, and buying things that we thought we needed and didn't, and we just, somebody starting out, we try to help them if they want to listen, you know, help them along the way without just getting too far in, and then a kid doesn't like it or whatever, and then you got a lot of money tied up.
Right. Yeah, I've mentioned a couple times I've got a tractor that I kind of keep around our local pools that I'll let just about anybody get on just to see if they like it before they go dropping a bunch of money, you know, trying to do it.
Right.
More often than not, they stick with it.
Right. And I've heard you say it, and it is the absolute best advice, and a lot of people say it. You know, if you're thinking about getting into it, buy something that is already set up.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And depending on, you know, even where you're going with it, it might not be exactly what you want, but you might get a motor, you might get a rear end, something to build off from in the future.
Right.
And then you can make it your own. And I kind of wish we had, when we started out, maybe had that advice. It took us a little over a year and a half to build the first tractor, and it could have been probably easier to buy something. And I understand the thinking behind it. It is yours. It isn't somebody else's, but you can make it your own after you figure out what you want to do or where you want to go with it.
So how long have you been pulling? Like, when did Doug finally get you on a tractor?
2015.
Okay.
And I don't think I ever told him, but Daryl Musser out of Pennsylvania, he was the person behind getting me on a tractor. I'm going to credit him for it. We had a young man that lives not too far from us, and I kind of knew his mother, and he wanted to get into pulling, and actually kind of my boss at the dealership, and she worked there in service, right up and answering the phone, and Scott says, "Hey, you need to get a hold of Dan Rood." And so we got working with Mitchell and actually built a tractor, and then he went out and bought another one that was already done, but he bought it for a rear end and a motor, flipped the rest of it, and was coming to the pulls, and then he found out there were girls. And a girl, and he is married to her now, but so then he wasn't going to go and kind of wanted out, and he had bought a trailer and had the tractor and everything, and I told him what I would give him. I says, that's totally up to you what you want to do, and so we bought it all, and we drug it up to Keystone. Doug had registered it one day for Thursday, I guess we pulled up there and registered it just for the one day. He had his pro then, his first pro, and he wasn't going to go slow 2 days in a row. And we were walking out to the trailer, or Daryl says, "Hey, where's your tractor?" This is on Friday, the next day, and "Where's your tractor at, Doug?" He says, I didn't register. He says, "No, you're registered. You get it in here." And we're walking out the trailer, and I looked at him, he went, "You let me drive?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, if you want to." And so I got on it, and he gave me instructions and everything, and he was, thumbs up, revving it up, and I was out on the clutch, and he just, waved his hand and turned around and walked away. I come out of the hole at probably half throttle or whatever it was. It was just a rush for me. So
you got hooked.
Yeah. And even Friday down to Quoin, Doug goes, "Okay, which is your left hand? Which is your right hand?"
And why does he ask that?
Well, we had and I believe it was up to Keystone another time, and when we had gotten a 30 back, because he had all pros, and he sold the altered on me, and we got a 30 back, and he said, "Okay, you're gonna run down the right side of the track, and we're gonna start over here." And I come out of the hole, and I was down the left side of the track, and again he's shaking his head. And get down there. "Do you know which side is your right side?" But then I explained to him why.
Have you ever had trouble with leaning the wrong way after he told you countless times before you leave the line?
Yeah, after I'd ran the altered a little bit, and I believe we had the first, or the 30 back, that would have been the tractor that I drove the whole year. In 17, we were at Springfield, and it wasn't a points pull. He says, "We're going to throw you on the pros." And I come off the line with the orange tractor that's will be my injected 30, and I just flat drove it right out of bounds. and, right out of the hole. And he backs me up and backed me up in the same place. And I did the exact same thing the next time. I knew he was not happy. and he just walked away. And, after the dust settled for a little while and I just went up to him and I said, remember when you were first starting? He goes, yeah, I know. So he knew that to come back out of the hole to shift over on the seat. I had no clue. I sat in the middle of the seat and hung on and drove it out of bounds. So it was a learning thing, and I still have to ask each time, and I did it this weekend. Well, how did I do on the clutch? Did I get it revved up? And Friday night, Wesley, he looked at me and we were at dinner and he goes, you're pretty amazing. You get down the end of the track and just the look on your face, like you don't know how you got there.
Oh my God.
And I said, you are absolutely right. I got no clue what I just did or how I got where I'm at. So it's still a blur to me.
But you're smiling ear to ear when you get there, right?
Oh yeah. Yep. I have a good time, and Doug's patient with me, but he did get me back one time, because the very first time when we got the first 30 going in probably 02, I think is when it was, and we went to a brush pull someplace and it went down the track all jerky, and we couldn't figure out what was going on, and one of the kids' grandmas had recorded and he had left his foot on the clutch going down the track, and it was sitting there jerking. And I looked at him and I told him, I was going to break your leg if you ever put your foot back on that clutch. and I think it was on the altar when I did it. He gets a big grin on his face. I'm going to break your leg if you do that again, what, Dad? So we have a good time, I think.
So what's it like pulling with Doug and, being on the road with him and stuff and helping each other out? Can it get stressful? Is it fun to do with your son? Or?
Fun, very much fun. Wouldn't trade it for anything. Way back, way early when we started this, and I don't even know what it was, but it started to get tense. And I just told him, I says, if we cannot just have a good time and, no friction, no arguing, no anything, then we're not going to, we won't do it if it's going to be like that. There's fathers and sons over the years that don't travel to the pole together, don't hardly talk at the pole, and it's like, I don't know, why you here, as a father or son or brothers or whatever it is, and this is we go to and I heard Doug telling somebody this weekend, we're here for the fun, and if we pull a little bit, then that's good. It's just become a time to get together with friends and extended family and enjoy it. When it's track time, it's track time, and the rest of the time it's let's have fun.
Oh, definitely.
Yep.
And I'm always happy to be there too. It's not just all business for me. I enjoy visiting with everybody. I found myself just sitting there where we were selling parts, just sitting in the chair talking to people a lot. I'd stop by and visit, and same thing. I'd wander around, visit with everybody, and it's just fun because it's not all business. Yeah, it helps, but I just enjoy the people that are there.
Right.
And looking at nice tractors too.
Right.
If you didn't pull, what else would you do? Would it be some kind of motorsport, or do you do anything cool like bowling like Doug does?
Yeah, I'm like a little kid at bowling. The wife and I did it for, every other Saturday for years. I'm not good at it. I'm not anywheres in the league of Doug. So, in our league, and it was I think just before COVID anyways, and we were losing our bowling alley and they were moving, and the couple we bowled with were in their 70s anyways and starting to have health issues, and so we were not going to bowl anymore, and I went, oh, okay, good. So it was okay. I didn't, I never took it serious. So
just something to go hang out and do.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'd, if there was anything, that I would do. I don't know. Well, that was the thing, Doug. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, this is your show, man. You go ahead.
Oh, Doug has talked for a long time trying to have his own place, barn shop type thing, and it's all at my house, and I keep telling him, I'm not going to be here forever, and we got to do something, and they're maybe trying to, locate something now, and he goes, well, we'll have to leave something here, and I'm sitting in what we call the clean side, and this is where the big toolbox is at, my lift table for servicing lawnmowers, the few that I do, and I said, I looked around and I went, no, we'll just empty this side out, and we're going to leave my chair that I'm sitting in now, and I'll come out and watch the fireplace.
There you go.
No, but I would, in my mind, it'd be really neat to build whether it's a truck or a car, but I don't have that ability. So,
What kind of car or truck would you build? I like old vehicles, so talk to me.
Like a 70 C10.
Yeah.
That type of thing, or
like a 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive? Which way do you like?
2-wheel drive. I'm only 2-wheel. My new white truck, everybody just looks at me funny and they can't believe it, but it's a 2-wheel drive, and I owned one 4-wheel drive, and I think I had it in 4-wheel drive once, and Doug ended up getting that when he got his license, and I don't know how much he ever had it in 4-wheel drive. Probably there's stories that I don't know about. That's okay. No, but or even a square body dually crew cab.
Oh yeah.
And slam, get her down on the ground, and just some nice cruising. So
I knew I liked you, Dan.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's what Dylan likes that. I'm
more of a Ford guy when it comes to my trucks, but I definitely appreciate a good square body.
Right. Maybe I'll look for another 85 Pontiac Parisienne.
Heck yeah.
Oh.
What other hobbies do you currently have besides bowling?
0.
Really? I mean, that's okay. What is a good story to tell on Doug? Like, any shenanigans of Doug's that he didn't tell us on his episode?
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, kind of connected to pulling the, used to be another, just actually down around the corner here, a dad and a son, and Doug and Richie you grew up together, went to school together, and Denny was the one that pretty much built our first tractor and spent a lot of time down there. And Denny and I were working on something, and we knew Rich and Doug were trying to do something with a tire and on an aluminum rim, a pulling setup, and that's back when it was just bar tires and stuff. And obviously we weren't paying good attention, and there was an explosion.
Oh, no.
And Madonna was in the house, and she come out, and we can't hear. We're trying to figure out what's going on, but there was a hole in the ceiling.
Oh, my goodness.
Two boys, and they were 14, maybe around in there. And two boys, and their eyes were bigger than their heads. And we all just, nobody got hurt,
Wow.
But it was like, oh, that could have just been really bad fast.
So did the wheel come apart or the tire come apart?
Well, there was some ether involved, and
oh, good Lord.
You say that like you haven't done something like that, though.
Oh, I have. That's why I said, oh, good Lord.
Yeah. So, but that was probably the biggest shenanigan, if you want to say, that I know about. So,
So, obviously you're heavily involved in the Winter Series and the GHR promotions and putting on the Winter Nationals. Just tell us about that as if I knew absolutely nothing about it. We have a lot of kind of local people that listen to this, and I say local, just guys at their local tracks that listen to this from all over. Explain that and just kind of tell a little about what you guys do.
Well, it's GHR, Corey Gerber, Nathan Hager, and Dan Rood, or DJ Rood. We can leave it at that because it could get passed on someday, and it'll still be DJ Rood. So,
okay.
Corey's got 4, Hager's got 5, and we've got the possibilities of 4. And for those tractors to sit there, if there weren't any pulls, that's a lot of money invested. And, so we knew that there had to be pulls, and, some we've kind of taken over. Corey and I actually started that Navarre pull. We put that one together in 30 days. We're at Springfield, and it was mentioned, and Julian Stahl knew about that arena somehow and said, "Hey, you guys ought to do a poll," and I don't remember exactly how it, Corey was involved and I was involved, but you guys ought to do a poll. And so Corey went to his dad, said, "What do you think, Dad?" And Dad went, "Well, I think we'll wait a year." And I said something to Doug. I said, "What do you think about that?" He said, "We ought to wait a year." And so then Corey and I talked, and I said, "Well, it's totally up to you." I says, "If you want to try to do this poll, we'll do the poll. It'll be you and me, and both Barry and Doug. Hey, well, we'll help if you guys are going to do it. And I told Corey, and we were on the phone, and I said, well, let's think of it this way. If you were a relative and I was going to loan you money, I don't expect to get it back. You know how those things go.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if you want to do this poll, I'll, not that I'm rich or anything, I said, I'll put the money up for it, and we'll try to raise some money, and we'll do it. And I says, you think about it a couple days and you call me back. And I don't think it was maybe 2 hours. Maybe he can correct me, but and he's back on the phone. He goes, let's do it. And it was a whirlwind in 30 days to do that. And Julia and Kathy were just tremendous on their help in facilitating and teaching us everything we needed to know in 30 days or less. And we did some X classes. We had some twin classes. I mean, we didn't know what to expect, and if we were going to make anything or what it was going to cost us. And we invited some the old open tractors. I think there was, I don't remember how many there was, 5 of them or whatever. Shane's got one, and Corporal's come up with one, but had those guys there. And we were just scratching for anything we kind of could. And that was on a Friday, Saturday. Corey was up there almost all week. He got the Ventrac with a landscape rake deal on it, busting up ice on the driveway and the parking lot. And I mean, he put in a lot of hours. I did what I could over the phone, and we got it pulled off. And then Nathan had his name on Liberty. That one, Kenny Cornelius and Stalls used to put that one on, and they were kind of stepping away. And that's kind of why Julian had approached us, about doing a poll. And because then it was just Hilliard and Princeton, and was all there was. And Nathan had his name on Liberty, and that one kind of was, the talk was it was going to be available, and somebody else had done it a year. And Corey and I talked, and we were all friends, Corey and Nathan and I, and Corey and or Nathan, like mind of us and our beliefs, and we knew we could pull it together. And so then we created GHR, and just and we learn every poll, we learn something. Nobody's perfect, but we try to learn from, whether they're mistakes or just things that we learn each time. And we just get it put together. We got a group of people that were with us from the beginning that, they wanted to pull. And it even happened this weekend down there. Shane had a little issues with the boat, nothing big, but a guy, one of the pullers took off and went and bought part. And it's like, we'll pay for it or whatever. And he goes, we're all here. We all want to pull. Hey, if I can do something small to make it happen, then, that's my contribution. Everybody does little things like that, just to further it along.
And sometimes those small things that don't mean hardly anything to the person doing it goes a long way with everybody else.
Yeah.
It just shows other people care, and it means a lot.
Oh yeah, and that's encouraging to us that people are willing to do that. just simple things. And if I start naming names and I'll forget people, but, I'll mention Kyle and Ashley Harstein. There's more times than not. It seems like every stinking morning, Friday morning, we forgot something, and whether they're on their way to the pole or they'll run and get it, and never think a thing, twice about it. Hey, that whatever we can do to help. And Robert Lear was the one that ran and got parts the other day.
Yeah.
And it's just small stuff like that, and whether it's during the pull, and I see somebody that looks like they can move better than me. Hey, can you run over and get that real quick, or do this or that? It just they don't know how much they are helping with the whole scheme of things.
Yes, so, the smallest gesture is does a big thing, really.
Yep. We've always.
Go ahead. This is your show, man. You go ahead.
Oh, okay. We've always tried to make sure that everybody could pull. If they're broke, then we'll find you parts, or we'll help you, or we got we carry all kinds of tools and extra stuff, and just to keep everybody going, because there's nothing worse than traveling, whether it's 100 miles or 800 miles, and to have one little thing wrong, we'll just help in any way we can to get you out there. We've taken your money. We want you to pull. We want to beat anybody out on the track. I had some guys that, I encouraged them to come to Quoin and pull with us. What are you after? I said, we just need numbers. Oh, you just want to beat me? And I went, no, we just want numbers, man. We just we want people and have a good time. So
definitely.
Did that answer your question that you asked, or?
Oh yeah, for the most part. I got more questions.
Okay.
So I normally ask people on here, what would they do to improve their club or their organization they pull with? Obviously, that's more of a tough question for you since you are the man in charge here. But so to reverse that question, I guess, what kind of advice would you give for people that are running their clubs, or how could people make them better, and more inviting, I guess?
Yeah. Well, I had mentioned there was 2 clubs that we were invited not to come back to. Doug started out on a 7 1/4 horse Simplicity, horizontal shaft engine, had more torque than a vertical shaft pancake transmission, type of thing. So it just pulled better. And, he's just a kid. And we've been to clubs where an adult in a, 12 or 14 horse class gets mad because this outsider kid come in there and beat him. And we had a friend of ours, and they took his ribbon away.
Oh, good grief.
It's a kid.
Yeah. How's that encouraging anyone to keep doing it?
Right. Well, because, you come in and you beat somebody in the club.
Yeah.
And it's just a big click. It's not, they didn't encourage growth from the outside. And that's sad,
Yeah.
And I would say if there's other clubs in the area and you can work on trying to get rules that work for both of you, both clubs, to try to grow it that way, so you can go down the road and pull with someone else. And that is a hard one, you know, and I see it all the time. Everybody goes, well, why aren't there standardized rules for that? You know, we tend to think, you know, what we do is in garden tractor pulling the top of the heap. And that goes back to Julian Stahl and back in, 80s or whenever it was, and got tired of being kicked out of places because he built good stuff and wrote rules and that in some shape or form we're still using. And I will tell anybody, you know, a lot of people flat out, you know, don't like Julian Stahl. But and if you're standing at that pole and you're talking to another puller, and I'll always say it, if it wasn't for what he did years ago, we would not be standing here having this conversation. And so, you know, flat out, that is why we are all there, because standardized rules got written years ago. So, but at that level, and he even tried it, you know, and I don't remember what it was, a hot stock class or something, and put rules out and where they'd be able to come to our polls and that, and just nobody participated. You know, it was.
See, that's a shame, because that's where I'd fit in. My tractor is kind of a hot stock 16.
Right. So I would say that would be one thing if you can work with another club close by. But sometimes, you know, that club started because somebody got mad at. Yeah. They took my kid's ribbon away, or, you know, your kid came here and beat us. So we're going to start our own club and make some rules that you can't show up at. So kind of unfortunate.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, I talked about Mitchell having his stock altered. His younger brother, he wanted a pulling tractor, and Doug and I worked on it and built him one, and we thought we had a pretty good tractor, and we built a little 10-horse for it, and it was, we'd gotten it done. I think Doug was living in Iowa then for a year. And, I'd called, Bradley's mother, and I went, hey, we're going to come pick him up on Saturday morning. We're going to take him pulling. And we went down into Ohio, a little club down there. And, and, you know, we picked it, you know, and he's like, what's going on? You know, hey, we're going to go to pull. And we get in to register, and he goes, well, what classes do I run? And I said, run them all, Bradley. And he needed seat time. We wanted to see the tractor work, and he entered everything. And when we got to the, 12-horse guys weren't too upset. 14 weren't real happy. When we got to the 16-horse class, they weren't happy at all. And, kind of middle of the field kind of thing, but it was a 10-horse.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah. But we had a good time. He had a good time, and so, yeah.
So you spoke on, trying to get a standardized set of rules. I've mentioned that on here a couple times. We're pretty fortunate. The clubs that we have, within an hour and a half of us, we've all kind of got together and made those rules similar, very similar, to where you can pretty well go any direction and run. And I kind of thought that's how it was, I guess, when we first started. But since I've talked to so many people since then, we're pretty darn lucky, really. I didn't realize how lucky we were, because I guess it ain't that way all over.
Right. Because you guys might consider one thing stock and another club totally different.
Oh, yes.
Just crazy different, but yet still it's stock. And, and they're far from one another. So that is probably the biggest issue with that.
We've go ahead.
Well, and we've been asked, like at our polls and down to Quoin, that the last poll that we had, that was down there, the national poll, 18 years ago, and they had a second track in there, and I never asked him. John Kress, was involved with that one, and I never asked him, who the other club was or, how they did that. I think the thing with, our group, we've shared a building before with a local club, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And it, sometimes you watch them from afar and you just shake your head.
It looks like a circus.
Well, yeah. In things that some of those get crazy and kind of out of control. Not that we don't have some of them with Darren, but
right.
And as a promoter and somebody that's holding the insurance policy on property
and you're trying to hold a standard for the type of show you put on too.
Right. And people have asked me, and I, somebody approached me down there, hey, why didn't you have maybe a second track? And, when we were here, my son was 11 and we brought our stocker and we're starting to see, some of our families have got younger kids and they're getting on tractors at home. And, maybe that'd be kind of neat to be able to do, something for the kids, something
Absolutely.
that the kids of the pulling family can bring their stockers and, maybe pull at some point because, we're there.
So it's interesting you're bringing this up because I drive a lot and I think a lot while I'm driving. But, we were just discussing standardized rules and how it kind of gets out of shape from other places. And then we're mentioning that, like, maybe that's what would pave the way for some standardized rules for like a 12-horse class or something. Maybe, people would see the level that you guys have started with all your other classes and decide to, just mirror your rules for their clubs.
Right.
And, that might be a good way of getting the snowball started for the lower levels.
Right. And it was said that whole conversation this weekend, and I said the sad part is that maybe you're coming from Missouri with a tractor, and somebody from Ohio's coming with a tractor that we're both calling stock, and they're not gonna be close. So do you and it's like the whole T-ball or soccer thing, well, we don't keep score and everybody gets ice cream and we always laugh about that, DQ and, hitting the white line and, you're going to Dairy Queen but, if the kids come and we just let them be kids and they pull and, in Wesley with the SWPA, and I don't know how much they do on that, a lot of the kids, there's winning in second place and all that, but you, just, they get little something and they're happy, to a kid,
Right.
I came and pulled when my daddy was pulling and, so there's a lot in that and would take some, more thinking. And I know you and I had the conversation and, Quoin, we needed to get in there. We needed to see what we had.
Yeah, you had to have a first run there. Oh my goodness. I couldn't imagine throwing a bunch of stock stuff in there along with that. And I mean, good grief. I seen one of your Facebook posts is like, bear with us. We don't know how we're setting this up. Yeah. And that's something I was trying to get a lot of people that was asking me to understand is like, let them get in there and get settled. And then maybe it can be something talked about in the future. But anyway, and also that being said, Dan, if you guys decide you wanted to add a kids class and just do something with that, I would be more than happy to be in the middle of that. I love doing the stuff with the kids, and whatever you'd need from me, I'd be all about. And I mean, I'm sure we'll have more conversations, just on the phone about that.
Right.
I think it could be a really good thing. Not the only thing, but one of the things that really kind of jump out to me that might be problematic, though, is the time. I mean, you guys run 8 to 8 on Friday. You throw in some kids running 3, 4, 5 mile an hour, that's going to make for a long day too. So we'd have to iron that out as well.
Yep. And we watch some of these videos from places, and they got no center barrier.
Yes, that bugs me.
Two tracks.
Yeah.
And they're running a kid down one side and outlaw tractor on the other. And if something happened,
there's no shutting that down.
Yeah. And it just that I cringe at some of the stuff that I see. Because I look at it from my position of the company.
Yeah. You've got to watch out for you and safety.
Yeah.
Well,
and that is number one. I mean, we've put some things in place that, before things happened, you could just envision things and going, we need to do something before anything happens. And that's why, Quoin, everybody, we could have been closer to the track with tractors. Well, no, we need to keep back there. I love the area we had down there. Everybody could see. You could put your lawn chair in the back of that row of tractor, and you were still far away from that track.
Yeah.
But we get into some buildings that, man, it just gets so stinking tight.
Yeah.
Because of the numbers of tractors that we get. You never complain with your mouth full.
Right.
And being in the agricultural world, it's just amazing some of these people that want to complain about stuff while they're eating their cornflakes. So, yeah.
Yeah. I hope we could iron something out one of these days. I think getting the kids involved will be a good stepping stone for them into something bigger and better too. I mean, I know a lot of kids are going to be something one of these days, and that'd be a good stepping stone to it.
Right. And we've had some. And I think of Andrew Ronenbaum ran, and I'm not sure what they had, stocker wise, until he got into the stock altered, and we're seeing. And over the years, we've seen that, young kids moving into, generally it's always stock altered and, speed and reaction good. And then, sometimes continue on up through stuff.
So what kind of future plans do you guys really have in store for GHR?
We're going to have a poll in January. In a month.
That's the future plans. Just going to get through that one.
One at a time.
We're on and we always joke about it. We're on a two day silence on our text messages. And this afternoon I slipped up and sent one, and then followed it with, "Oops, I broke the silence," and I got no reply from either guy, and that was fine, and it's not that we don't talk, and we kind of laugh about that one, because at different times we're right back going, planning, and
But you need to have a cool down period.
Times. Well, I got to sleep, man. I'm old. So, but yep, I think, the 4 pulls we got now, and then, with Princeton and, the Hilliard Club, Jackson, at 6 pulls in a year, like a national level.
Yeah.
Trying to get any further over that is starting to push.
A little too much chaos.
Well, time off, everybody seems to, have to work to live. I don't understand that part, but
yeah, that part sucks.
When you can finally, get to the point where, I rolled into work about I think I got there before 10 this morning. I'm not sure, but.
Well, I kind of had the same problem. I got there a little after 10, but I had truck problems this morning. My truck gelled up, so I was running behind.
Oh, yeah.
I get there at 10 every day for my work, so that's my schedule.
Oh, but, yeah, I think doing the 4, and, if we've got to look at some things on the Quoin, on, making a decision there, but, hopefully we can go back there again and we can continue the 4 we've got. And I kind of plenty, especially when it's November, December, January, get a little break until April, and that'll be good. We can go to Jackson and just relax. And the first year we were down in Jackson, I walked in the building and here comes some guy. Hey, what are we supposed to, where's this? What are we doing there? And I just went, got nothing to do with it, boys.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, just nice to be able to show up and, kick back and be like the rest of the people.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys don't run the Jackson pool?
No. Nope.
Okay. I thought you did for some reason. So I've talked to them a couple times. They don't have any room for another vendor out there because it's so small. But I did see that they had a class that my tractor fits, and I've thought about going out there and pulling this year if I can get a buddy to ride with me or something. So I may just do that so I can kick back with you.
Yep. They run 2 tracks there. And they split it up, with the national level, track to track.
Mm-hmm.
And people have said, mentioned us, well, Liberty, there's room for 2 tracks down here. Well, and we've seen it.
I've run down there for their stock pool, and yeah, they can get 2 in there, but they don't have any barriers, and they're running hot stuff next to kids.
Yeah. But, and I've seen it at Keystone and Jackson or Springfield, the Hilliard Club pole.
Yeah.
In a lot of us have different classes of tractors, and we've seen it where one guy is on his tractor to go down the track, and they're yelling at him because he's supposed to be hooked to the other sled.
Oh, good grief.
And it just, that creates a whole new nightmare.
Yeah.
And everybody is then just super beat trying to run track to track, and you haven't got time to watch anything, make strategy. And then you've got the whole other expense of a second sled. And now we need 2 of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's gotta come from somewhere.
Right.
We were very fortunate down to Quoin. We were, a little low on some of our numbers, but we had Keith's brother-in-law, Jerry, and I can't remember his name to save my life, that, been flagging, all over the country, different organizations. And Keith said, hey, my brother-in-law is going to come and he's going to flag. And I got talking with Jerry, super guy. I figured I'd have him, a few heats here and there, and he just had a blast.
Oh yeah, you could tell he was having fun.
Yeah,
and did an awesome job.
He's used to PPL and ITPA and NTPA and Louisville, and he's flagged all this stuff, and like he said, he just stood there in amazement. And he goes, I can't believe how you guys get them down the track as quick as you do. But, when you got to run 12 hours to get them all done.
Yeah.
And I think we stayed on it pretty good. Sometimes, people will, just mention different things, you guys took kind of a long lunch. Well, all of our guys have been on their feet all day long. And if we take some extra time, I don't apologize for that. Yeah, you don't get to go to the restaurant as soon, because as soon as you're done pulling, you're going to be gone. We're still going to be here for 2-3 more hours. So, I just, sometimes those people just need to step back and just take a look at what everybody does to make sure that they have a good time and pull. But, we had Jerry there, and he both days out there all the time. I think there's a few little breaks in there, but and he just had the time of his life. It appeared. Matt Conder.
Yeah.
I was over by the trailer, and you had said that you might have some guys coming up, and here's a guy standing there, and he goes, hey, I'm here to help. And I went, oh, okay, you from the club down here? And he goes, no, I'm here to help. And I went, you mean like you just showed up? He goes, yeah, I just showed up, man. And I said, well, I need somebody to, how about unhook? And he all day long, stood right there and did that. And when we were done Saturday, he was still smiling. So
we've got
just super.
We've got guys at our club that'll do the same. You got to fight them to get in there and do it. They just love it. That's great. It helps make everything go.
Yeah. Yep. That Mike Perry, came over, that stubborn mule. He said, hey, I'm here to help. And he did starting line flag for quite a while, and he had no dog in the hunt, but he was there to help. And we've got our group of guys gals, that are like that. Hey, I'm here to help. What do you need? Sometimes you don't need anything. Sometimes, hey, we need a little help. And, So, and it's, we try to pay our expenses. We need to put a little away every pull in order to pay the insurance bill the next year.
Oh yeah.
And pay out the best we can. And, nobody will ever get rich at this, with their winnings. And,
right.
And you look at the price of things that have done, but we try to pay out the most we can, and to maintain. And we've bought some stuff. We've had money donated. We got the TVs, and that was a big one at Jackson when we showed up. And there's like, well, where's your TV at? Nobody said anything. And they're available, but you got to ask. And Tri-State, who does Princeton, that's a club that runs all summer, and that Princeton poll, October's like a fundraiser for them, helps make their insurance money and all that. And something was said, hey, what about them televisions? And we did a little Corey's good at getting people set up on that, and because they're keeping score on computer anyways, and it relieves of having somebody stand there and write on a cardboard sheet the results.
Yeah, I think we're wanting to go to something similar with our club too.
Right. And so, that there was some expense on some of the stuff, but yet I don't have to have that person standing there trying to find that person. And when we started out, we had people that would. And if somebody got tired, they walked away and the next person picked up the marker and marched on. So, and everybody's loving that as far as I can tell. They can walk up to it and see, oh, okay, I'm going to be pulling after so and so, and it freed up the person doing the lineup, getting tractors lined up because they haven't got to keep showing everybody who's next. And
yeah, so we're wanting to do that. Sam could tell you because she's helped register people and stuff in our club, but people wear out the announcer and everybody else at our club just asking, when am I next? And this and that and the other. And it's like, even if we have something posted, like the papers posted out there, they don't go look, but I think someone will actually look at the TVs, and the TVs work excellent for you guys. I noticed that a lot. They just go up and see when they're running and see how everybody's falling, who's winning and everything else. It's idiot proof, really.
Yeah. And I, if I'm doing lineup, and I still like to jerk around with guys, because when you're up there, when you're close to pulling, you're in a zone.
Yeah.
And they'll come up and they'll try to look at the clipboard, and I'm like holding it back a little bit, and then laugh and just turn and let them see it. But it's gotten 100% better of kind of leaving that guy to do what he needs to do and not interrupting him.
Yeah.
So, and nobody had ever done it. So, everybody said and looked at a TV before, but they'd never seen the lineup before.
What do you have in store for the next points champions to win?
We'll be giving the buckles out in January at Greenville. And I just sent, Heidi took over the social media, I guess, the social media manager on Facebook.
And I have noticed a big improvement with you guys sharing and getting it out there. She's done a very good job.
Yeah.
Oh, and Nathan and Corey didn't know anything about it. They I don't know if they like the humor of the old man or what it is, but they just let me run with things and always, like it. And I knew that she was good at it. Just some of the stuff she's seen and how we ended up. And I just said, yeah, do it. And she starts coming up with this stuff. And it's just, some of it just totally amazing. And she's getting it out there. But today I sent her something. I sent her the picture of the, what do we want to call it? The award. And I said, when we get, closer to Greenville, we're going to do some sneak peek, maybe blacked out deal for curiosity.
Okay.
And I said, and when we get closer to Navarre, maybe it'll get put out there. But, Nathan, Corey, and I talked a little bit, I asked a suggestion, and I always work to get our sponsors, and each one of them, with the exception of Matt Grooms, has been with us from the beginning. And I try to to focus and give them, what they're paying for. And I hope it does. And so, trying to get an award and get them recognized is difficult. We got some long names, Rood Dog Chassis Works. That takes up some space. Mogul Manufacturing. And so you sometimes get limited on what you can do. So I think I found something and I put it out there for the boys and, that was my whoops this morning or this afternoon, so they'll see it when they see it. Then I'll get a cool or what are you thinking, Dad? So.
Well, there was a suggestion. I won't say who suggested it, but somebody said they would like a puppy if they win.
Well, Heidi, even if you don't win, I'll get you a dog.
Sorry, we didn't hear you from our laughing. What was that?
I said even if Heidi doesn't win, I'll get her a dog.
Aw.
That's nice.
Hey, one of my best friends has golden retriever puppies right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I think with their lifestyle, it probably a stuffed one would be best.
Yes.
I've got a blue heeler and she goes with me everywhere, pretty much.
But not the poles. Yep. It's too loud.
Yeah.
Well, the poles and the cruises and, Disney for a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, when, right first thing Thursday morning, we took off about 4:00 up here and I don't know what time it was. All of a sudden it was, I've got 8 hours to come up with creations, and she started sending stuff. And one of them was the new banner for the Winter Series puppy polls or whatever it was.
Yeah, I find that funny because she sent me the same thing. I've got 8 hours of drive, and here's some questions for Dan.
But I think we're set for this next year. And I just like to come up with things that are different.
Oh yeah.
When we did that first Navarre poll, I had the idea of the mugs. In that first year, we only give out first place. The lunch lady bought them, and we give those out, and they seem to be liked. We had Colton Kidd won, I think, the second year at Navarre, and we seen him at 9:30 at night, and he's got his mug in his hand, and he just thought the world of that thing. And I said, "Well, was there an envelope?" I think there was in my pocket. And he gets up to his room, and his dad's like, "Well, what'd you get? What'd you win?" "I got my mug." And he said, "No, in the envelope." "Oh, I don't even know." And there was a chunk of money in that envelope. I'll tell you that.
Oh wow! But he loved the mug.
It appeared that, and I've had some other guys that you know them, you talk to them a little bit, and they're just different personalities, And I went up to one and I says, "Hey, what'd you think of the mug?" Sitting right up there on the shelf where I can look at it. And that just that person that told me that meant something to them.
Yeah.
So, and when we give them out the first year, I said, got a mug, everybody can use something to throw nuts and bolts in out in the shop. And Binky figured out that big one I think it held 2 beers. So, but just something different every time. We started doing those big checks down to Liberty, and there's guys that have been out there for years, 10, 15, even longer, and never have won and win. And they get something like that, and that means something. That's the satisfaction that, when you see the reaction of winning,
Yeah.
and then to have something, tangible to show for it, We, when Doug won his first pro, and we just kind of stand there, and it was like, well, not quite what we thought it might be, but, everybody was gone. We were the last class of the day, you had all the guys there, but, and then it just passes. So, but, sometimes it's not, maybe the amount on the check, but it's the symbolism of it.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yep. What winter pool is your favorite one to do? I'm going to have to, for this year, I'm going to have to say to Quoin. You cannot ask for a better facility. I think if we can get back in there next year, we'll see a lot more shorts. Yeah.
on people, I don't know how many times I've heard somebody, man, if I knew this, I would have worn my shorts.
Well, I know that first day I was unpacking, I was pretty warm myself, which
right.
I should have known better. I've been in there many times.
Right. You were kind of down in that cooler area.
Yeah, and it was still plenty warm.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So how was Quoin as a whole? What did you think? Was it a good time? Was it? Did everything run smooth?
Yeah, I believe everything ran smooth. It was totally understandable. We got weather, I'm going to say back home, wherever back home was for a lot of guys.
Yeah.
They already had gotten some weather, and there was talk of weather coming. I totally understand not leaving. And depending on, everybody's got a different situation.
Yeah.
I got home Wednesday night and got hooked to the trailer right away. So that way I knew I could get out. And, for me, all I was concerned about was getting to the pole.
Yeah.
Once I was there, it don't matter. For us, that's the pressure to make sure that we can get there and then do the pole and, not have any issues. And then getting home, well, it's going to be another story, but
yeah, we'll worry about that later, right?
Yeah. Yep. But it was just getting there. The boys could handle everything. People would step up, but when you feel the pressure to make sure that it comes off, and we had that little special deal down there, so it was just some added pressure. So
yeah,
but no, it went off good. And, sad we had some breakage. Guys weren't able to pull the second time, and it isn't about that. And we always give money back. You break a tractor, you're getting your money back. There's places that does not happen. Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's, years ago we had a buddy of ours on Friday morning warming up the tractor, broke the crank off.
Oh,
he
no.
registered for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, nope, no refund. You think about those, if you're in that position, well, the promoter's position is, he needs that money, but, everybody's got their own motives. Well, and it changes things for that guy that broke the crank. He's going to remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to say it was a success because it went off without a hitch. Keith arranged to have a second sled there, with the intentions that it never come off the trailer, and it didn't need to, so that was a successful pull.
Good.
And we've had others where, everybody chipped in and we worked on a boat, for into the night. But because years ago there was one that the boat broke on, from what I hear, broke on a Friday and well, no more pulling, go home. And, so that's always, what's plan B? So, yeah.
So earlier we talked a little bit about some safety. We've all seen the video of Tim Peters down at Liberty and the weight bar breaking off. Do you have any things you're going to try to do to maybe hopefully not happen again? Or is there anything you think could have been done?
Well, hindsight's always perfect.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, and when I got home from Liberty, that was one of the posts I wanted to make it slipped through the cracks. Everybody needs to stop and really look at, that area.
Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of stress.
Yeah. And we seen it at Quoin, zip ties and ratchet straps and duct tape to get enough weight out there. And there's discussions on what can be done because we've progressed, when that Nichols tires come out, that was a game changer. And so, you just keep finding the weaker link every time you fix something.
Yeah.
But and Tim would admit, when they did it, and that tractor kind of got changed from, a pivoting axle to a solid, and they use the same bracket type of thing. And so, maybe there would have been signs had you thought about it and looked at it, that, we got something going on here. But, I think we all need to just, look at our tractors in every area, and not just, that front weight boom, but that is a big one. And that was, the motorsports insurance world is getting, I don't know how to describe it except that this last year, two of the largest insurance carriers in the country, whether it's oval, drag race, tractor pull, motorsports, motocross, motorcycle, whatever, got out of the business.
Oh, really?
Just flat out got out of the business. And because when we apply garden or tractor pulling, truck and tractor pulling is kind of the umbrella that it's under. And we're not big tractors, we're garden tractors.
Mm-hmm.
When they had that very unfortunate deal up in Pennsylvania where a turbo come apart and it took a life, that made it all the way down to us. And it's like, what are you guys doing to prevent that? Well, we don't have turbochargers to have to deal with that. And so they don't, these underwriters, they might have never seen a pulling tractor, whether it's a garden tractor, big tractor, unlimited, so, but they just see tractor pulling.
Yeah.
and we're all with society that somebody's going to pay, no matter what. Somebody else is going to pay. That we're all one accident away from never again. Tim's accident, if you got a chance to really look at what happened there, divine intervention, whatever you want to call it, that was a miracle.
Yes, that could have been really, really bad.
Yeah, that it was, and I say only a tractor was in hurt feelings, a pocketbook annihilated, but everybody was safe. So, and that was why, some of GHR instituted some safety things in there to make sure that, other things don't happen. And then they kind of got adopted into, the rules for everybody. So,
yeah. Oh, I'm glad nothing bad happened. I think it was a good opportunity to learn, but yeah, it was certainly scary.
Right.
Yep. Moving on from that, this is a question for when you get to pull. Who does it feel best to beat?
Oh, in that 30 cube class. Now there was a new sheriff in town this weekend, but Greg Hefner, and anybody that's been around a while remembers little Greg and playing in the dirt. He played in the dirt, and Doug and Lori, his mom, that did the scorekeeping for us this weekend, they were back and forth on the 30s back when Doug ran 30s, and it was just, and that built that whole friendship relationship with them, just back and forth, and so when we got, Doug bought back his new motor after the wreck that we had, and Mother said, well, just told Joe Whitworth, just build him a new one. Okay. And and he had that one a few years and then went to pro, and he sold it, and he bought it back for me to run. Oh. And somebody had changed the cam in it. It's supposed to be the same cam and whatever. And I asked Tony, I says, hey, would you work on this? I don't know what's been done to it. Let's look at it and stuff. And he says, yep, we'll do that. We were good enough friends. He says, yes, I'll do that. And we got into it, and about month number 2, and it would not run. And I said, Tony, we are too good of friends to let this motor get between us. If I hear an explosion, if you dig a hole, you bury it, I'll walk away and we'll still be friends. He goes, that motor kicked my butt so many times. I know it will run, and I will make it run. It took him 9 months, and he talked to a lot of people trying to figure that motor out. What was going on with it? We did get the original cam back, and with everything he'd done, who knows what all happened, but when that original cam went back in that tractor, then it ran. Huh. And 2017, we went to Princeton. I made a test run, and I come out on Friday, and I won. And I beat Greg. Greg was second.
Yeah.
And Tony's parents just happened to stop by. I don't know if they were coming back from Florida or what it was. And Tony, it's hard to tell when he's pretty excited, but he was pretty excited, and he should be, very proud, because he got that motor to run. And his dad's just looking at him. He goes, what's wrong with you? he just beat Greg. He goes, Dad, you know that motor that I had for 9 months? Yeah. He said, that's that motor. That was a win for me.
Oh, definitely. I get that.
Yep. And so I have beaten Greg Hefner. And
it feels good.
Yeah. But they are so good with that class. Tony ran it, Lori ran it, Tony ran it. Now Greg's running, and Greg was just a little shaver. And I've watched many guys pulling, and that thing would come up, and 30s are pretty famous for babbling, and it stumbled and stuttered, and Greg never flinched. He waited for it, and then took off. He just he looked like somebody had been pulling for 20 years, and he'd been on stockers and different things like that. But yeah, when it come to the 30, it was just smooth as glass. And he still is. There's nothing that rattles him. And, it's just, and he knows, that we goof with him. We all want to beat him because he is the best at it. And Max got him this weekend. So now I guess if I could beat Max maybe someday.
Yeah. He's pretty tough too.
Oh yeah. Yep. And he built the motor that I've got now. So that was one that he built. So he would, I think he'd be happy even if I beat him. So, cause it's still a win, motor guy, it's still a win.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
What could we all do to improve the sport? Like, what's some things you think could help attract people to it, promote it, make it better?
Right now I'm going to say that, Robert doing the video.
Oh my gosh. Yes. That's been awesome.
That has, people are able to see really what we are.
Yes.
They have in their head, oh, it's a lawnmower.
Yes. Lawnmower racing.
Oh, you pull lawnmowers. And, Tim was on No Practice Podcast.
Yep. I know. I
after his
listened to it.
little deal. Yeah. And those guys are like, oh, those, that's insane.
Yeah, you could tell
tractors.
They didn't realize what it was all about.
Right. And so it's, really to get that word out there.
Mm-hmm.
In this deal with Robert, and he always apologizing. Oh, I'm sorry about this or that, and it's like, Robert, this is fantastic.
Yeah, you're giving us more exposure. It's great, and he does such a great job on it too.
Yeah. He apologized when we were doing the deal with Jerry, and the camera could only pick up so much from that PA system.
Yeah.
He's talking about buying cable where he can plug into the board, and that way it gets the announcer's voice,
oh, wow.
The announcing, anything else going on to improve that whole production. And it just unbelievable what I believe what that's doing for us.
Yes.
The garden tractor pulling world, what it's doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because there's people seeing it, viewing it, and that can move the sport. So
more social media exposure, more video exposure, just more exposure. You think would improve us a lot?
I mean, that's the thing right now.
Yeah,
if you're really not on social media, no one's going to see you.
Yep.
Right.
And that's something we've tried to do with this here. It obviously started, I've mentioned that many times, it started as a joke, and now it's become something I couldn't tell you the amount of people that come up to me over the weekend and told me that they like doing it, or, hey, I'd like to be on it. And this has got a lot of exposure, and I never dreamed it would have done what it's done.
Right.
And
Right.
It seems like something a lot of people are looking forward to, and it's pretty cool. Like, I had a lot of people looking forward to hearing from you. I mean, even just local buddies, you know, they know that you were the man in charge up there and was looking forward to interview with you.
Oh boy.
You're kind of a big deal, Dan.
Well, I agree. I'm big. Yeah.
What advice do you have for new people wanting to get into the pulling world?
No matter where you're going to get into it at, you know, if you've got a club near you, that's the place to start. You know, you got to start somewhere. Now, would I say, you know, get a stock, you know, buy a tractor that's already running, a stock loader, and come to our pulls? You know, when we started, Doug pulled with the 30. You know, he pulled that little simplicity. I don't know, three years. You know, we got into the dirt stuff. 3-4 years, maybe. I don't. And then we started working towards that. You know, building that 30. And we showed up at Columbus. The Hilliard Club used to be in Columbus at the fairgrounds. That is, you know, it has been referred to before. It's like showing up at the Daytona 500. We showed up there. We had a set of Carlisle bar tires because that's about all we could afford. You know, and Doug was a little guy, and you know, these are the memories. And we'd been at it for a while, and it was, you know, you save some pennies, buy a part, you know, it was slow going. Well, kind of a funny story. Valentine's Day, I received a package in the mail. I had saved up enough money to buy a ring gear. And for Valentine's Day, my wife was thrilled. She got a ring gear.
Sam, how would you feel about that?
Neutral.
Wouldn't be surprised.
We can almost laugh about it today, but
almost.
Doug got a ring gear for Valentine's Day. Nice, nice. But you know, and seeing him, you know, and he's kind of upset. You know, why do we got to wait so long? And he had said it. He wasn't sure what mother had given up for him to be able to do what he did. And it got later on. Well, I was working. I'd been on the road, worked at a shop for 2-3 years, and it was time. And that shop closed, and so I was going to go back on the road, and that's when I spent that 15 years. And it was trying to figure out how to survive. And his mother went to him and said, Dad won't be able to go anymore. He's, you know, things are a little tight. And he said, you haven't got to worry. You guys have taken care of me. Now it's my turn to take care of you, or Dad, so we can continue to pull. And that's when a boy became a man. And that meant the world to me. Still does. So, and you know, and of course I got a job, and I wasn't pressured, you know, in the household to get back with anything, and I found what was going to work for me, and we'll kind of work around life. And then Mother decided that we needed to find a way to finance it ourselves. And you heard that story. He started making axles, and away we go. And we've been very fortunate on that stuff. So, but it been a ride. And
Awesome.
Do you have any questions for us?
No, I guess an attaboy. We have always had the philosophy when we got into building parts that we were going to make them, and to take nothing away from anyone. Some of our parts weren't Kmart people or Walmart people. They might be a little more. There's a lot of things that will work. And when you're trying to build build a new tractor, Dylan has got that. I want to say, that starter, the entry level kind of thing, and you could use it in our world, but to help that beginning part, getting them interested, if they can buy a part and buy it a little cheaper, and it serves the same purpose, then we need those, and Dylan has stepped up, and there'll be some things that people will see. You haven't got a big connection into our level, but yet you want to give so much to help our level, and that you hang your hat on that. That is, you are doing your job to help further the sport.
Well, I appreciate that. That's, I just want to, I don't know, that's what I set out to do. More affordable parts for some of the entry level. Because, the way I look at it is if I'm not there, then, how are they going to get to the level that you guys are on? Right.
And if they had to buy, and I think you've got wheelie bars.
Oh, yeah.
If they had to buy a set that Doug makes in order to pull, it probably ain't going to happen right away.
Yeah.
And I don't know what your prices are. I kind of know what Doug's are, but our parts aren't meant for maybe everyone. Not that they can't use them, but they might cost a little more. And we take a lot of pride in that. Like the front axle, we started that.
Oh yeah.
It was on his tractor first, and we ran it for a long time. And it's been, it progresses, and it doesn't necessarily progress to get cheaper on our end.
Yeah.
So we can charge more. We try to get it cheaper so we can, that price can stay the same over the years. When COVID hit and steel went high.
Oh God.
We didn't raise the price. We ate the increase. We had enough to get somewhat through it. We had to buy a little high at one point and never changed the price, just ate it and carried on. One year at Princeton, I walked around and looking at axles that were ours, looking at them. And then I'd go up and, whoever had the tractor, when you painted your front axle and spindles, have you got a way to duplicate that color? Oh yeah. Okay. And made notes. Showed up in the next poll and handed them brand new spindles.
Because you'd improved the design?
Yeah, didn't like what was happening.
Yeah.
With some of the first stuff we built. And we gave away parts. And it's like, well, no, that, for us, that's the right thing to do. And we've had people that have bought tractors that from someone else that built it and like, we need, something different, can we, and I know Doug has made spindles and we send new bushings and hardware and just here, free of charge. And they're like, it's not like we're just going to give parts away all the time, but sometimes you need to just take care of people. And if they come back, hey, cool, but we knew they were happy with what they had then, even, sometimes second time around that for whatever reason. So, but, that entry level stuff is very much needed. And I applaud you for that.
I really appreciate that. I certainly get what you're saying about improve. I was actually just having this conversation with my buddy Josh. Sometimes I get a bad habit of jacking with stuff a little too much. But it seems like every time I do something, I feel like I can make it a little bit better. And so my design does change from time to time on different things. But I'll just notice the slightest tweaks that I can do, much like your axles, and just make it so much better or make it fit better or whatever. And I think that helps, not only my name, but just the whole sport. If you can bolt something on it easier, that's going to make you want to work on it more and, improve it more and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, also it's neat to me in this sport and being around the people that I've been around with the tractor pulling that, I'm not really looked at as competition because I've got my own thing, but I find myself walking around talking with people about just different, like me and Matt Grooms come up with something the other day for my hitches. It's going to make them a lot better and make it easier on me for me to make them and just make them nicer. And I think that's neat that, the vendors seem to be sharing advice on stuff,
right.
Or not advice, but just ideas. And, I won't go down too big of a wormhole, but Kevin Vogel's been a tremendous help to me in a lot of ways. And that's something that I would never have thought of a few years ago whenever I got into building parts for these is, one of the biggest names there are has kind of been guiding me with some stuff.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of appreciation for everybody, and it's just interesting to be in a area where people's not talking crap and, just what's this new guy doing here? They're more about putting you on a pedestal because you're in your own little area there, I guess.
Right.
Dylan says that a lot. I feel like he comes home every day and it's just like, oh, these people were so nice and so welcoming or like help me out or talk to me about this.
It's very humbling sometimes. And it's just, there's a lot of cutthroat things out there with business. And I don't get that feeling here. It feels like everybody's trying to boost each other.
Right. Well, and when we kind of started into it, because we're doing vending.
Yeah.
And we wanted to have things that other people didn't.
Yep.
Because what's the point in selling,
the same
six
thing.
people got the same part.
Yes.
And so, but we had a little bit of overlap there once in a while.
Yeah.
But, just to have things, because building tractors, we needed them. So
same.
If we can, buy 30 of them instead of 5 at a time.
Yep.
And sell them, then that works. And so.
Well, and that's what I've encountered is, my buddies building stuff for their kids and they just needed stuff. And I figure out how to make it and make it a little more affordable and make it for their application. And, yeah, same. And then it's like, like I said, boosting each other. Good grief, man. I get asked all the time about axles, and I tell people I don't make them. And I try to send them to Doug because he's got a wonderful product. I don't have time to fool with him. And why? I certainly could, but why would I? He's got it mastered and got a very nice product. Why would I take that,
Right. Yep.
But anyway, we'll move on from that. And really, Dan, I've enjoyed this conversation. We've got to talk quite a bit, lately at pools and stuff. It's nice I think I said this with Wesley and Heidi, it's nice to have a conversation that isn't 30 seconds long in between tractors going down the track. And I can tell tractor pulling really makes you happy and you enjoy it and you like being there to put on stuff for other people to enjoy. And I think that's what everything needs, every sport, everything out there needs is just someone that loves it and to keep pushing it.
Well, I was talking about that with my friend today about just like our line of work. You can tell when someone loves something, no matter what they do, like the love shows through it. So.
Yes.
Right.
Yep. But I guess, did you have any other questions for us? Sam, me, anything?
I'd really, for your podcast, to get Mickey Brown on. I've been waiting for that one.
Yeah.
If we can make that one happen. How's that?
That would be great. I would love for that too.
I would love that also.
Yeah, he really should now. He's got the biggest dog of them all calling him out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make the hammer come down there.
Oh. Well, I'm going to hear about this.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any other people you'd like to call out that would be good to have on here?
Sometimes our circle isn't real big, but just somebody that is just unbelievable in their knowledge of a lot of things. Andy Peters.
Yeah.
Nathan Hager's been at it a long time, pulling. The first time we went to Princeton, and we met, I call him a kid. We met a kid and his dad, and we sat up on the bleachers and chatted with them, and left there and going, man, there was some nice people, down to earth people, and it was Nathan and Lamar.
Buddy, I understand that.
Yep. And that one's just as, the year they, you don't know what people are like away from seeing them at the pull.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we had talked with Nathan about running the 30 that year, and let me check with Dad, and that was old, and we just talked about the other day, 08 or 09. 08. And, you're on your way down there and you're going, what are we going to see? You don't know what you're driving into.
Yeah.
And we get there, they, beautiful, beautiful place Lamar's got, this big barn. And we get backed up by the barn, and they come walking out and they're wiping their hands off, and they go, yeah, we just got done rebuilding the transmission. And you could have ate off the floor of that shop. I mean, the only time my shop floor has been that clean was the day they poured the concrete.
Yeah.
And they just did a transmission. And they ain't got dust on them or nothing. I walk by something and I'm dirty.
Yeah.
And, yeah, Nathan, you know, and he knows a lot and has experienced a lot. I think he would be good. And he's funny. I don't care who you are. He's funny.
Yeah. I've mentioned it to him a couple times. He didn't seem real keen on it. Andy said he wanted to do it.
Oh, okay. Well,
we might have to coax Nathan a little bit.
Yeah. And you had said something to me, and I'm like, yeah, okay. If you come over and start pulling my teeth, maybe I'll say something. But and then you said, you know, contacted me there, and you're going to be next. And it's like, oh, well, okay, sink or swim. We'll see if I can do it.
I think you've done a fine job. Well, before we do it,
I've been called a salesman. I can sell ice cubes to an Eskimo.
Well, before we wrap it up, I'm sure you probably got a list, but you know, who would you like to thank?
Well, the only reason I believe I'm still on this earth is the good Lord give me the time. I had heart surgery. They had, and he chose to keep me around. Been a little over 3 years now, and I believe there's a reason and a purpose for everything. And so, you know, thank him. And then my, you know, Doug, this whole tractor pulling thing, you know, we think of where we come from, you know, sleeping in the trailer and freezing our heinies off and just, rolling with the Parisian in the ice box and those, you know, those are the really the memories we have. But for quite a while, we borrowed a truck camper and slid it in the back of the truck and, you know, just lived out of that during the weekend. You know, you just, you made do with what you had. But, those are the memories. A lot of people look at, you know, what the rig is now that we have. I mean, that's all Doug. That's, for what he does. That was my retirement truck, but, you know, that's all really just the tractor pulling is the only reason we've got what we got. You know, if we were to get out, I don't know what we do with all the machinery in the shop here and, you know, eat, breathe and live this. So, and then I'd have to say that my other boys, Heidi and all those, and just it's a total package. You know, Wes came to flag at Navarre that very first year, and that was right where he went, right downhill from there. to a post hole digging fool to pay for what I got him into, and it warms my heart because every time he tells that to somebody, and he's not shy about it. This weekend, somebody said something, he turned and looked, and he went, "That man cost me $100,000 right there." Yeah, the you know, kind of our core GHR group, you know, Shane and Andy, and Andy, you know, Andy's got a tractor that's been broke for years, and he comes, and we've got, you know, 150% faith in that guy. He takes care of everything at the pull. You know, there's a couple dollars exchanged here and there during that deal, you know, and Andy just does it. And he is so meticulous and thorough, and he wants us to know what he's doing. And it's like, Andy, there is no question on what you do. And one of the times when we were talking, the boys and I were talking, if it was not for Andy Peters, GHR would be in trouble. That, so to speak. He is behind the scenes kind of deal, but without him, we would not be what we are. Just flat out. Just unbelievable. I try to tell him every time, thank you. And just, when he comes through the pole, that means he stops getting paid. He's like a truck driver. He's a traveling, sales rep type of guy. Now, and there's times he'll say, hey, I gotta be on the phone. I gotta do my thing here. And it's like, yeah, do, you got a living. You got to make a living. But just that is just huge for us. Number one on for us is Andy. There's just a lot of other people involved with it. My wife makes food. Not that we give food out to everyone, but there might be some people that we feed, and she takes care of that, a lot of that. Nathan, Grandma Gerber, and her Mom Gerber, a lot of ways that way. We try to take care of some people that are working. It's a big effort, a big family, and we couldn't do it without everybody. So,
yep.
Pretty neat. I'm hoping we're building something that will carry on for years to come.
Yep, I sure hope so too. I really enjoy coming. I'll tell you what, Dan. I'm certainly glad I've got to meet you. You're a pretty good fella, and you pack around a lot of good people around you too. That's.
Well, I always say, better to have met me than to have never known me.
I like that.
Take that for what that's worth.
Yeah. Yep. Well, buddy, I guess we're gonna wrap it up and let you get off here, and I appreciate you joining in with us, and I'm sure we'll be talking more.
Okay. Come on, Mickey. You can survive. You'll do it.
Have a good one, Dan.
Down. Okay, very good.